Welcome to the deep dive. Sri Lanka's economy, it's faced some significant challenges recently, but what if I told you there's a really surprising story? One of resilience, maybe even success, happening right now in its corporate sector. Today, we're digging into the top 10 Sri Lankan companies on the Colombo Stock Exchange, the CSE. These are ranked by net profit for fiscal year 2023. Our mission really is to understand what makes these top players tick, How do they stay so profitable when things are tough economically? Think of this as your shortcut to figuring out what drives success in a market that's, well, pretty dynamic. And we're basing this on a whole stack of financial reports, company data, mostly from that FY 2023 period.
Yeah, and what really jumps out from the data is just how adaptable these companies have been. I mean, despite the economic downturns, the currency shifts we've seen, they're not just getting by, some are actually thriving.
Exactly. And when we started looking through those financials, this compelling pattern emerged. Profitability isn't spread out evenly, not at all. It's really concentrated around two big themes. First, the just sheer dominance of financial services, and second, the undeniable strength of these big, diversified conglomerates.
Okay, so let's unpack that first one. The company right at the top, John Keells Holdings PLC, JKH. They're a classic diversified conglomerate. So what's their, secret sauce? How did they pull in LKR 29.33 billion in net profit?
Well, with JKH, it's diversification done extremely well. It's like they built an economic fortress, They operate across so many different areas: leisure, retail, property, food, finance, transport. So that broad base means if one sector, say, faces headwinds, the others can often pick up the slack. It ensures a kind of baseline profitability. And you see a similar kind of resilience blueprint with LOLC Holdings PLC, too. They brought in LKR 10.2 billion, also diversified, but maybe with a particularly strong financial services cluster. And they've also got that international expansion angle, pushing into other emerging markets. Right, that multi-pronged approach, it definitely makes sense for stability. Yeah. But you mentioned financial services being dominant. 5 banks in the top 10, that's huge. Does that kind of concentration ever worry you? Is it a risk, or is it just showing underlying strength? In this context, I'd say it's primarily a sign of that underlying strength. Their success really stems from very solid fundamental banking practices. You look at the leading private banks, like Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC, that's LKR 28.5 billion net profit, or Hatton National Bank PLC, H&B, at LKR 23.08 billion. They consistently show really robust financial performance. And why? Largely strong loan book growth, so they're lending effectively, and robust asset quality, which means the loans they do make are generally healthy, likely to be repaid. And then you have Sampath Bank PLC, LKR 13.1 billion. They specifically point to their focus on tech innovation, digital banking. That push helps with efficiency and reaching customers. Okay, so strong diversification, solid finance fundamentals. But it's not just those, right? What about the other sectors in the top 10? We saw telecom, retail, beverage.
Yeah, good point. That brings in the strategic importance of market leadership, especially in essential services. Take Dialog Axiata PLC, telecom giant. LKR 12.3 billion net profit, their dominant market share. That's a massive factor in an essential service like communications. Then Cargill's Ceylon PLC, LKR 8.8 billion. They show the power of an integrated supply chain, that whole farm to fork thing in retail and food. Basically controlling the process from field to shelf. Big advantage. And Lion Brewery, LKR 7.5 billion, and Ceylon Tobacco Company, CTC, LKR 6.9 billion. Their high profitability, it comes down to near monopolistic positions in their markets, really strong brand loyalty, and what economists call inelastic demand. People tend to buy their products even if prices change, right? Even with heavy regulation.
So pulling all these threads together, what does this all mean for you, for someone listening who wants to understand what really drives success in a market like Sri Lanka?
Well, if you connect the dots, the big drivers become pretty clear. First, diversification, but executed strategically for resilience. It's crucial. Second, the absolute foundational strength and adaptability of that financial sector. Third, the power that comes with being a market leader, especially in essential or high-demand services. And finally, something weaving through almost all of them, the growing importance of digital transformation. For efficiency, yes, but also for customer engagement.
It's genuinely impressive. These top Sri Lankan companies, they really do show remarkable adaptability, strong operations. It signals this underlying strength in the corporate sector that's maybe easy to miss.
Absolutely. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? Given how these market leaders sustained profitability through really significant economic challenges, what specific strategic lessons could businesses in, say, other dynamic developing economies take away from them? Lessons to ensure their own long-term growth and resilience. Something to consider.